Hey, I was watching this movie the other day. Tell me if you've seen this. It's about this group of humans and also magical beings. I mean, there's dwarfs and there's elves and whatever. And here's the twist: they they're jewelers, so they have like really beautiful necklaces and
Elves and whatever. And here's
bracelets
the
and
twist:
rings
they
and all this.
they're
And
jewelers, so they have like really
what is this? An
beautiful
echo?
Hear that?
necklaces
That's
and
strange.
bracelets and rings
And all this.
they're
Why
jewelers,
is this
so
going
they
on?
have like really
Okay, here we go.
beautiful.
Hear that? Got it?
I fixed it. Oh my gosh.
Wow, you were infinite.
Yeah, that echo effect. I'm gonna talk to our
Maybe
special effects team about that. That wasn't meant to be part of it.
production team, get with
Russia's
it.
team, what are you doing? No, you guys have been meditating too hard. I think that's the problem. You got to pay attention to your jobs. Uh, I'm trying to finish this joke. They have really beautiful necklaces and rings and bracelets and whatever. Have you seen this? It's called the Fellowship of the Bling. It's good.
Oh, snap.
What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Austin Bear, and we have delighted to have my co-teacher Leah Schaefer with me. And
Hello.
each week we do this class to meditation live stream, and each week we have a theme. And this week the theme is navigating change. Would you like to talk about it a little
Yes.
bit?
Yeah. So it's a hot topic, like it's definitely I say whenever people are experiencing change, that's most of the time when they want to meditate is because it's like something uproots in their life and then it's like suddenly like either they want to change themselves or something in their exterior life has changed and so they have to learn how to adapt to that, and that's a fantastic time to come into the practice of meditation. So I would say meditation is like it's probably one of the change is probably one of the main reasons people come into meditation.
Right.
Yeah, and so but I think it was you a long time ago that told me that it was like stress and change are basically the same thing. Like it's like if there's going to be change, it's going to be stressful.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get into it a little bit today about like, how to really use these tools in order to optimize whatever kind of change or transformation you're going into willingly or kicking and screaming, depending on what's going on with you. So,
I feel like one of the things that I've just experienced, like teaching people over the years, is yeah, like exactly what you're saying. People who are just going through a lot, right? Really stressed out, and it's like you need something. And
mhm.
everyone says meditation helps, or maybe you've done some of it in the past and it helps or whatever. Um, but I just have like so many kind of memories of like sharing meditation with people, and then there's like this moment of relief that that happens afterwards. Like that people talk about that you feel in them. Like a kind of, I don't know, an unburdening or an unknotting. You know, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, that's definitely, I mean, one of the best feelings, like when your practice actually works.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, when you need it to. So especially.
And there's something to that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you it's like we can't guarantee what's going to happen in life or in the inner journey and meditation, any of this, right? um, but it is nice when you go seeking relief and you get that, or
Yeah.
and I think there's something mysterious about it because a lot of times, when you're under stress, your thoughts have a very anxious character. And
Mhm.
they kind
Mhm.
of run, right? They run and run and run. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh," like, "Am I even doing this?" Um, and then a lot of
Yeah.
times you still feel better afterwards, right? Like, like
Yeah,
having
that's
the
actually
thoughts run.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, it's really true, and but it can also be just so that people know, like when you are under a lot of stress, like it's really normal to have a harder time meditating. So
Oh yeah,
that's like a normal thing, which is why you come to our show so that you can
we'll get it done
have an
together.
easier time. Yeah, so you're not alone.
I mean, I think that's one of the nice things that we have here with the internet, right? Is that we can, it just makes it very easy for us to be together virtually, and
Hmm.
so yeah, whether you're with us live here or whether you're watching this later, but that's why we do it live, so that we can kind of
Hmm.
all come together around a certain you know shared shared moment. Um,
Yeah,
well, we do have
great.
some great tools in meditation that really are kind of specific to this
Hmm.
theme of dealing with change, and because meditation is, there's a certain element to it that's mysterious, right? But we want to try to reduce that, right? We want to try and make it clear what we're doing, and one of the things that we're doing is learning about energy, learning about how does energy change, how does it flow, how does it transform into different forms of energy. And one of these very ancient kind of spiritual teachings is about that, right? About different kinds of energy. And one way it's expressed as is in this four element system.
Hmm.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Leah?
Well, sure. I mean, um, I think it's much more in pop culture now than it ever was. I don't remember, like the Avengers, they're like that guy that had, I'm gonna just show all my naivety right now, but like the guy that like he had to have all the different things on his ring so that he could dominate the world.
Right,
you know, like,
that guy.
so people, yeah, right? So people are kind of getting used to this idea, this like these concepts of the elements. Like there was Doctor Strange, like there's a ton of stuff that comes out nowadays where
Mhm,
the elements, like this idea of like elemental powers, is more commonplace in mainstream media.
mhm.
But it's I don't know. You can think of it abstractly, but what we'll do and what everybody will do together here is that with your breathing patterns, you'll see that your breathing patterns will have different effects on you, and basically the common effects on most people with these different breathing patterns end up having typical effects on every single person, and those typical effects can be related to the elements. And the reason that they're related to elements is to give people a system to work from. So Asatar and I both work with people individually. At least I know Asatar used to. Um, and I very much work with clients individually. And like, so how do you do that? How do you work with somebody individually? Like you have to kind of have a system to work from, right? And so these elements give us an organization system. And so we're going to go into these breathing techniques that you can write down and take home with you. So, or keep with you rather. Yeah.
Or you can come back and watch the video again there too. That's also an option. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, take notes. That's good.
Take notes.
It's like energy doesn't stand still, right? Energy is in a process of becoming a process. It's like it has a flow to it. And we want to tap into that, right? We want to understand like what is energy, how is it in us, and what are different
Mhm.
forms of it that it takes, right? And so the
Yeah.
elements are like metaphors for that, right? So
Yeah.
when we think about a kind of energy that is long lasting, that endures, that is strong,
Mhm.
orderly, right? Well, it makes sense to say that energy is like earth, right? Like
Mhm.
has the qualities of earth, has that solidity, right? Has that strength. Um, but of course, that's not the only form that energy might take, right? Now,
Yeah.
we're not meaning this literally, right? We're not meaning like we don't mean it literally. We mean energy that has those characteristics, right?
Mhm.
But it gives our minds something to like hold on to, right? Um, and like energy that has more of a flow to it, that's more yielding, right? um, that has that quality, that's water, right? The water element that has
Mm,
depth that, so, we're meaning this kind of like poetically, allegorically, right? But it also
yeah.
is, it's meant to also be functional, right? We want to see like what happens if we get into that kind of energy, like what kind of feelings are associated, right? How might we tune that energy towards, a particular end for us, right? Towards something that we're trying to do, something that we're trying to experience or change in our own energy.
Yeah, and you'll find everybody. You'll probably find we're going to go through all four elements this evening. So buckle up. It's gonna get
Exactly.
crazy.
Crazy calm is what she
um,
means.
whoa, energy this way, that way. Um, but in any case, we're going to go through all four elements and note for yourself, like which one affects you and in what way. Like you might like one, you might not like one, and that's cool. Doesn't matter, but you're going to have a different reaction than anyone else. So, but the reason we came to like doing the all four elements this evening, is because, basically, like if you're going through any kind of major change, we want you to kind of be able to get access to whichever element you need in this moment. And the reality too is that if you did these element breaths every single day, or a few times a week or whatever, um, you're gonna help balance your system out. So
Mm,
like not only like so you can do that, with the deep breathing, of course, rhythmic breathing with your heartbeat. You can definitely balance your energy out with just that. But with all four elements, it's going to really feel so good for your system. And that'll be something that you can really take with you, on your way toward the change that you're going through. And so
mm.
let's go ahead and jump right in. Unless Asatard, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we continue?
No, it sounds good. We've done
Okay.
our preamble. Let's get into it.
Woo! Okay. So so I'm gonna stretch just a second. Just kind of get my body ready for the meditation. And as you're ready, come into your seat, whatever your seat might be. I'm sitting in a chair. Asatar is sitting in a chair. You're also welcome to be sitting cross-legged, but the point is that, or laying down. But the point is that you really want to have your spine, stacked, and you want your whole skeletal system really to be stacked in a way that allows you to sit for a long period of time. And that's why we do these postures. So you can sit on a chair where your hips are higher than your knees. And give yourself access to that full, deep belly breathing as you're ready. And I want you to move right into this deep breathing this evening. So every day is going to be different. So if you are experiencing a lot of stress, more than likely your breath is going to be labored. It's not going to be easy to take a deep breath in or out, because the muscles in your body will have tensed pretty significantly, and that includes your diaphragm muscle. Okay. And so we're gonna do this kind of reverse biofeedback by changing our body, changing our breathing in order to change our mindset and the kind of stability of our emotions. So as you are ready, I want you to try to relax your muscles a little bit more. I'm a really big advocate for self-talk, so I might say something like, "You're safe, everything's okay." And so even if you're your attempts at full deep belly breathing are a bit labored or tense in the first few rounds, just trust that it will open up. Your muscles are going to open up to you. Your body will open up to you. And try to put yourself at ease. This is not a test. This moment is not a test. And this moment is just for you. And so I really like to imagine the breath moving into my body as I inhale, like water filling up a glass. You know, it's this nice kind of stream of breath, and it moves all the way to the bottom of your torso and then fills up gently from there. And for this first round, we're going to be breathing in and out of our nose. So as you exhale, a lot of your exhalation is going to be natural. You want to complete your exhalation by squeezing your abdomen in toward your spine at the bottom of your exhalation. It's this feeling of trying to get that last bit of breath out, all the way out. And I like to have the feeling like I'm reaching my breath out in all directions. And the more that I get that last itty bitty bit of breath out, the more influence I'm going to have on my own atmosphere and on my own life. That next inhalation always comes while we are living. And so you can trust that moment. You can trust that moment in between. That even though you're giving everything you have at the bottom of your exhalation, that new life is going to come rushing in. And what do you do with that new life? You direct it. Directing it into the depths of your being and letting yourself be filled. And so for the earth element, what you want to do is you keep breathing in and out of your nose, deep, full belly breathing. If you are more advanced in heart rhythm meditation, then you can begin to breathe in rhythm with your heartbeat. If you are not, if you're new, then you want to just get a sense of your heartbeat as you breathe. And maybe that looks like you placing your fingertips on your heart or finding a pulse point. Just have that moment of contact with your actual heart as you deeply breathe in and fully breathe out. And then those of us that have made contact with our heartbeat, start to use your heartbeat as your internal drum, your internal metronome. So what that means, what that looks like is maybe you're inhaling for 6 or 8 heartbeats in. And then exhaling for the same count of heartbeats. So you want to make your inhalation and exhalation equal parts. So if I inhale for 8 heartbeats, then I'm going to exhale for 8 heartbeats too. And if that's way too much for you in this moment, just go ahead and get that sense of your own heartbeat. And really get that sense. You can count if you like to, but getting that sense of breathing equidistant. Inhale. And exhaling. Just like the earth, we are very much rhythmic beings, right? We do the best when we have the steady sleep rhythm. We function the best when we have a nice, almost predictable rhythm to the base of our life. And as you're breathing this way, I even want to get you to have a sense of gravity below you, of the earth below you. Like in the sense of like how gravity is constantly pulling us towards the earth. So on your inhalation, you can have this feeling of inhaling from the ground beneath you all the way up, maybe to your tailbone, maybe all the way to your heart. And then exhaling from your heart back down your body, maybe all the way out your feet and back into the ground. Really feeling that connection to the earth itself. So right in this moment, even if your life is in complete chaos, even if everything is in disorder, in this moment, you have just made your whole system perfectly rhythmic. And you're reinforcing your connection, your constant organic belonging as a human being on this planet in existence. The earth is always there supporting us at every given moment. Even at this given moment right now, you're sitting on the earth and it's supporting you. And so really feel those two things. Feel the support that is holding you right now. And feel that steady rhythm that we can always rely on. You know, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. The moon's going to continue in its cycles. These steady rhythms, we're moving into the fall season. These rhythms that we know, that we can rely on. And now your own breath, your own breathing, and your ability to direct it, to organize it. This feeling of safety, even though change is constant, this moment of safety right now with your own breath and your own heart. And this reassurance of constant belonging. There's not one cell of your being that does not belong. Good, and then we're going to switch over to the water breath now. So this was the earth breath that we just covered, and that was in and out of the nose. And now we're switching to the water breath. And the water breath is going to be in the nose and out your mouth. So in through your nose, inhaling through your nose, and then exhaling out your mouth. And again, you want to try to make your breath rhythmic. And so if you are able to start counting in with your heartbeat, finding that rhythm that works for you, heart rhythm meditation, right? So finding the internal rhythm that works for you. Perhaps it's somewhere around 6 or 8, somewhere around there. Heartbeats in. And then the same count of heartbeats exhaling out your mouth. And so as you inhale through your nose, and again, I know I'm giving a lot of instructions, so just you always take what works for you and you leave the rest. That's how you do that. So when you're ready, if you like, have the feeling energetically with your breath. Try to feel your breath as energy. And as you inhale, inhale from your heart, inhaling in your nose, but inhaling from your heart all the way up, through your throat, through your head, up, way up overhead, reaching up toward the sky. And in the water breath, you want to imagine a shower coming down, a shower of light or love. And as you exhale out of your mouth, you're really allowing that shower of light or love to pour over and through your whole body, your most deep and tender parts of your being. Inhaling into your nose and energetically feeling your breath move from your heart up through your throat, up through your head, all the way up, 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 way up high. And then exhaling. And it's like this very supple, sweet surrender as you exhale out of your mouth, allowing a shower of light, shower of love to pour over and through your whole body, your whole being. Especially on your next exhalation, find a very tender spot in your own body to really allow this shower of love and this shower of light to gently pour directly into. Wash over and through. When we go through change in our life, major change, it shakes up our sense of identity. It shakes up our sense of self. That's why it can be so scary. Or maybe you've been stuck in a pattern for a really long time and you haven't moved forward simply because you were afraid of that moment of void, that moment of not knowing yourself, not knowing your identity. And what I've found this last year with so much change in my life is to deeply surrender. It's like this deep, deep surrender and this deep inner listening. Because in these moments when change comes, you don't have control over everything. I mean, you very rarely have control over anything, really. But in these moments of great change, you can feel that. You can feel that. And you have to allow a certain level of yourself to accept what's happening, to surrender to what is happening, to surrender to any fear that you might be facing around this change of identity, this change of yourself. There is a time to face and to fight, but there's also a time to deeply accept, to deeply surrender what is real, to what is real, to what is happening. And by allowing all of your muscles to supplely relax, almost as if with every breath that you take, you melt a little bit more. By allowing your whole system to unwind and unfold, you're going to be able to switch out of the fight or flight mode, and you're going to be able to really make it through whatever you're going through with continued love and compassion. And you need that. You need very deep emotional love and compassion to make it through. You need that nectar for your heart and for the core of your being. It aches for that nourishment. And with every breath that you take, all you're really doing is opening up to allow a little bit of that nourishment to energetically go in and through. Surrendering to love, surrendering to the depths of your being. All right. As you're ready, my friends, go ahead and start to move your body. And open up your eyes.
Thank you, sweetheart. Lovely meditation.
Thank you.
It really makes me think of, that we're in each other's space energetically, and when when you go into meditation and you're listening to somebody talk, you're going into that person's energy, and
Mm.
have a very wonderful energy to go into, and it is different from mine too, right? So like I can appreciate that,
Mm.
um, sometimes it's
Mm.
harder to feel the energy of somebody who's too similar to you. It feels too much like yourself.
Mm.
It's hard to see,
Right.
you know. But it's like,
Yeah.
you feel that difference, and then you're like, oh, that's right. It's a different energy,
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
why we meet each other, everybody.
Thank goodness for those differences, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I
It is
think, one
beautiful.
of the big themes about change is, or like one of the general things I think about, that try to help me deal with it is to, what does it mean to embrace it, and what does it mean to fight it? You know,
Right. Right.
because we have like a natural inclination to resist. What there's a certain part of ourselves that's like change, bad, right? Change, uncertainty, fear,
Mhm.
stress, ambiguity, all of that, right? Um,
Mhm.
and we don't like any of those things, like on a
Yeah.
basic like evolutionary basis or whatever, right? I mean, like we like to know, we like stability, um, and yet, we also are very driven to grow, right? So, you know,
Mhm.
part of the change that we experience comes from within, right? Like, I mean, because we want to grow, and growth is going to involve change. There's no two ways about it, um, and some of that change is going to be unpredictable, right? Some of it's going to be, you know um,
Mhm.
we're going to be like, well, wait a minute, we want to change, but we want it to be exactly like how we expected.
Let me draw a diagram.
Yeah. Here you go,
Just
universe, here's my diagram.
kidding.
Why didn't you deliver exactly what I asked for?
Oh my God. And it's tricky, it's tricky talking about surrender with change because it's like I don't want to be a wet noodle. Like it's not I don't want to like be spineless. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not that I want to like lay down and like just, you know,
Right.
it's just very different. Like it's a very different meaning. And it's like that's the nice thing about going through all the elements is like you do need different things at different moments in time. But like a big part of it is like really just accepting what's happening and like really surrendering to that. And sometimes that's what you need the most, depending on the circumstance.
Well, it definitely
Yeah.
is helpful for when you're starting, right? For when you're like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just be with like what is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have that moment,
Yeah.
because I think it's good to approach that with humility, openness. Like maybe we don't accept it, right? But we accept that this is how it is now, and then
Right.
we're better positioned to make whatever changes we might want to make energetically, or in any other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that, I think, that raises a point too, where it's like we can be dealing with a certain energy, like the water element, and that energy can be flowing very forcefully, right? It can have that
Mm-hmm.
kind of energy, right? Or it can be
Mm-hmm.
very accepting, very not forceful, but more in that surrender place that you were talking about, within the
Mm-hmm.
same element, right?
Mm-hmm.
That element can take on different forms depending on whether it's more like expressive
Mm-hmm.
or more receptive, right? And so, life has
Yeah.
both of these kinds of both of these kinds of energy are
Yeah.
present, right? So, uh,
Right. And sometimes you're not so much surrendering to the circumstance as you are just allowing your whole body to get out of the fight or flight mode, because like
right,
when you're facing major changes, like you're in fight or flight mode. And I know quite a few people that I work with that they're always in fight or flight mode. Like there is no off button. And that a best meditation job. Thank you. And thank you, my love. I think
Andre
that you're
Morgan,
from,
lovely to see you
yeah, from
here.
Australia. Hell yeah. So, but anyway, sometimes the surrender is not so much to the circumstance as it is just to allowing your system to unwind when you need to rest and repose or just recover from whatever you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the ways that we can find immediate relief, not that that's guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed in the inner journey or the outer journey. Right? We're not saying, come on down and well, the best meditation experience is in town, right? Like, no
Well,
guarantees
I
at all. No, but a lot of
mean,
times, when you just accept and say like, "Hey, this is where I am now," then you kind of let down a certain burden of like maintaining, I don't know what, like hoping that it'll be better or fearing that it'll be worse or whatever. All of
yeah.
these kind of burdens that we bring into it, and letting that down for a little while can be really
Yeah.
nice.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Well,
Mm.
let's continue on the theme then.
Yeah.
with what I'm going to reluctantly hide this comment. So
Just leave it up.
yeah, just leave it up. Um,
Mm.
we want to keep on going and exploring the elements, and so um, I'm gonna do a little bit more and take us through. The elements have a certain order to them, right? Because there's a logic to how energy transforms. So Leah talked about the earth element, right? This is that quality of energy, and it's within ourselves, but it's also in the external world, right? Because energy is energy, right? I mean, what we are, right, on some level, our energy mingles and is connected to and is one with the energy of all beings, all things, right? I mean, this is the mystical experience. This is the experience of unity, right? This is why it is the case that making a change within ourselves often has very powerful effects on the external world, right? Because we are all one, right? That's our inner reality. Uh, so these energies are all around us. They're within us, right? We all have each one of these kinds of energies within us, right? We have the water kind of quality within us, right? And all of the energetic and emotional connotations of that, right? We also have the fire within us, right? We have that energy which lifts us up, which shines, right? Which has that warmth, that spark, right? These are all metaphors, they're part of language, right? Because they express that reality, right? The things that make us laugh, right? The things that make us take heart, that inspire us, right? All of that. Um, so whether we have a lot of that, right, or that kind of energy, or maybe we have less of it, right? Maybe we have like different balances of stuff within us, right? Um,
Mhm.
and we also have a kind of energy which is more diffuse, which spreads, right? Which has this kind of you know effect of like when we talk about the big picture, right? What are we
Mhm.
looking at there, right? That visionary quality, that quality that is more than just ourselves, right? That embraces many other beings and so on, right? Um, so the air element, right? And you know, there are times when that can also be very much needed, right? Like we need that kind of sense of perspective, or we need to embrace
Mhm.
many points of view in order to kind of, just help us get that, right? I mean, that can um, to help us deal with whatever's going on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about this a lot, but of course, the point is to experience it, right?
Yes.
And so let's go back into our
Mhm.
meditation posture, right? Nice upright position. Tune into your breath again, and make your breath deep and rhythmic and slow, heart centered. So breathe in through your belly, expand your belly, right? Then continue that breath up into your chest, expand your ribs and your intercostal muscles and all the way up to your collarbone, right? That's the operative area of breathing. And just make your breath slow, make your breath refined. Tune into your heartbeat and bring that into rhythm with your breath. So you're breathing the same number of beats on the inhalation as on the exhalation. And now we're going to do a particular breathing pattern, and that is to breathe in through the mouth and out through the nose. And this is an additional thing to concentrate on. So, you're going to have to remember, right? Like as you're finishing your exhalation through your nose, just let your lips part slightly and take in the air through your mouth. And you're switching the channel of breathing there, right? This is I believe it's called the epiglottis, or I could be wrong here, but there's this this switch that you make, right, in your breathing from nose to mouth. So it's wonderful that we have the option to do one or the other, right? And they have different effects. Okay, so when you're breathing in through your mouth, try to keep that smooth, right? The mouth is a bigger channel than the nose, right? So it's a little bit harder to control in terms of making it slow and smooth, but we still want that, right? We still want that inhalation to be even with the exhalation. So same number of beats, right? Same basic kind of intensity of the breath, right? It's going to feel different when it's coming in through the mouth. And the visualization that we want here is that your breath on the inhalation is coming in through that area at the base of your rib cage, the solar plexus. And your breath is just lighting up that area like you're breathing on coals. Like the action of you bringing your breath in just stokes that fire, makes it burn. And on your exhalation, that light just pours forth from your heart, from your chest. And feel all of the qualities that you associate with the fire element, that warmth, that light, that spark. And feel, there's something so wonderful in that. There's something that draws the eye, right? Something that is so attractive about that energy. Just feel that coming out in you. Now, this is an element that often brings with it some fear because fire is a kind of energy that is difficult to contain, right? I mean, like earth, you have your boundaries and you have your walls and it's much more contained, right? Fire burns that stuff, right? But sometimes that's just what you need. When certain structures are not working for you, sometimes they do need to be burned down. Now, of course, I'm talking metaphorically here, right? don't set any actual fires, right? We're talking about unleashing that energy in ourselves. If you feel a touch of fear with it, or maybe even a lot of fear, that's interesting, right? Think about that. Go into that. Experience what that is. Let it speak to you. And this can happen with any of the elements, of course, not just with this one, but um, fear often comes from a feeling kind of out of control, right? But stay with the rhythm of your breath, stay with that strength of your heart, and you have the ability, right? Your heart is stronger than these energies that flow through your heart. Your heart is this vast, vast container, bigger than the whole universe, you could say, right? There's no amount of energy that is too much for our hearts. In through the mouth, out through the nose. Experience all of the qualities of fire. Maybe you need courage to get through this moment in your journey. Maybe you need hope. Maybe you need to feel lifted up in your spirit. Maybe you need inspiration. Maybe you need that feeling of the inner light. Maybe you need that quality of truth. Now, the fire is energy on a more subtle form because, fire itself has less of a tangible physical form, right? Like we compare earth or water, these are heavy, right? Yeah, fire, okay, it's becoming more subtle, right? And as we move to the air element, we become more subtle still, right? Fire has a certain direction. Fire lifts us up, moves us forward. But what about this energy which just moves in all directions, which spreads, which might move one way, then another, right? Which has this diffuse quality, right? This everywhere quality. What a balm that can be. What a sense of possibility that can bring. What a sense of freedom that can bring. And that can be quite a relief, right? When we feel like so locked into certain structures or certain directions or just, habits or patterns, whatever it is, right? Sometimes we just need the kind of opposite of that, right? That freedom, that spreadingness, that vastness. So be in that space of the air. Feel that vastness. Feel that, the winds of change. But feel in that vast space that your heart is there. Your heart is beating. Your breath is there. Your breath has that strength, that rhythm. So that the vastness and the possibility here, the vision that's possible, the clarity that you can have, that feels like it's centered in your heart. That you have a container that can hold that and not get lost in the vastness. Breathing now in through the mouth and out through the mouth. but keeping that deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered breathing. Just let the lips be gently parted. Breathe in through the mouth and out through the mouth. And you might notice that breathing in and out through the mouth in this manner is very different than it feels when you sort of, I don't know, like what are the times that you breathe in and out through your mouth? Like maybe you've just exerted yourself, you're kind of out of breath, right? Your breath is probably moving kind of fast and being, right? It's the breath of an exertion. Um, so what we're doing here feels very different, right? It's a long, slow, refined breath, right? It just goes through your mouth rather than through your nose. All right, so let's end our meditation there and come back to your normal breathing pattern and back to your space and your ordinary consciousness, but perhaps with a little bit extra.
Thank you so much, Asatar. Um, Everyone, you should be feeling perfectly balanced now.
Remember, we make no guarantees, but but if you've stuck with us through this entire class,
Yeah.
you should be now fully enlightened, and that work.
Done and done.
One class usually does the trick. Yeah,
One class.
that's how good
10
we are.
minutes in each element is enough. Oh, now you are the fifth element, and can, you can navigate them all. No, but in all sincerity, if you are going through major change, we do hope that this helps you just again navigate it and really nurture your system on all fronts and help you see like what you need more of during this time. As you do these different breaths, you're going to be attracted to more of one than another, and that can kind of point you in a direction of like, okay, I need more of that today. So
Absolutely, and meditation, it's like, you can do a very kind of general practice and receive a lot of benefits from that. But, what we're also pointing to is that you can customize your practice, right, based on
yeah.
what you're going through and what you need, right? And this is where a teacher can come in helpful, right? Can be helpful. And if you guys have questions, please contact us. We'd love to help.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and if you'd like to support the show, click on the Patreon link. You can learn more about that and get a whole course of meditation and so on. Um, Everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
And yes, thank you so much. And remember that you always, no matter what kind of change you go through, you always have your heartbeat and your breath.
That's really important to remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, till next week, everyone. Look forward to seeing you all then.
Thank you.